Your business is struggling. You can't find leads. You don't understand why your traffic isn't converting. Today, we're going to show you exactly why. We're going to show you the mistakes that I made for years. And when I corrected these mistakes, our leads started converting, our business revenue started increasing, and we started gaining more customers. So let's get started. But before we do, make sure to share, subscribe, and like the YouTube channel so other business owners and sales professionals like yourself can find the same valuable content. Hi, I'm Chris. Today we're talking once again about target audiences, but today we're going to be talking about something different. I'm going to be telling you about some mistakes that I made. I didn't build the right foundation and how to build this foundation so that you can scale things, so that things can drastically improve for you. Today, as I said, we're talking about target audiences, but we're talking about really understanding these audiences. Understanding that Instagram may have a different audience than Facebook, than YouTube, and understanding that when you build a target audience or an individual customer profile, a buyer persona, whatever you want to call it, that you don't just build it and forget about it. It's always adapting. It's always changing. You're always collecting more data, understanding the demographics, aspirational, attributable, behavioral traits of this audience. For example, I was talking to someone the other day who says, hey, my ideal customer is someone seeking truck insurance that's middle-aged 35 to 70. That is way too broad of a range. First of all, it can be also disputable. Is middle age really 35 to 70? But we really want to narrow these things down. We really want to reverse engineer this process. The first thing we want to maybe figure out is that age. Is that 35 to 70? Maybe 35 to 50? Maybe even 35 to 45? Maybe you really want to narrow that thing down. Look, are you going to get as many watches on a video? Are you going to get as many clicks on a website? Maybe not. But guess what? You're going to get the right ones because your copy and everything else is going to be speaking to the right audience. So understanding these target audiences, you've got to understand that when you're building these target audiences, then you may also want to build another sample of that particular audience, one for Facebook, one for Instagram, one for YouTube, depending. Or maybe that audience, you don't need one at all for YouTube. For example, Instagram, first-time home buyers, ages 24 to 28. That may not be something that you find on Facebook. Instead, the Facebook audience might be closer to 40 to 55. And you see the messaging can be different here. The copy can be different. How you speak in a video could be different. It's the same mistake we see people make. It's the same mistake I made for years where I was creating these generic blog posts and answering questions. So that's great and all. The problem is I wasn't building certain landing pages. I wasn't building guides the right way. I wasn't helping people down the journey. But more importantly, when I was building these guides, let's just say, for example, for a first-time home buyer, I wasn't specifically speaking to that audience. I was trying to be too generic, and by being too generic, my audience didn't know who I was here to help. I didn't know who I was here to help. And that's something we see sales professionals make a mistake every day. So you want to make sure to build this target audience the right way. So first-time home buyers, for example, they have a certain household income. Maybe you want $75,000 a month in income. Maybe someone who's married or about to get married that has two different incomes, who's looking to buy their first home. Maybe they drive a certain type of car. Maybe they have certain types of fear like financial security, stability, being able to take care of their family. All these different things that you build in. And you can use tools like ChatGPT. Use these different learning models. Don't necessarily depend on these learning models, but they can definitely be a resource for you to go back and forth with. Because a lot of times they may suggest things you don't think about, or they may suggest things that you know are a terrible idea. So it's almost like having a conversation with a coworker or a coach in some situations. In fact, you could probably build a GPT as your target audience coach, like I have, to help me in certain situations to go back and forth with, because it understands how I learn. It understands the content that I've put in there before them. So in looking at all these different audiences, depending on what your medium is, if it's TikTok, whatever, you need to go to those platforms. You need to understand what are the audiences that are consuming the right kind of content here. Just like when I shoot this video here, I shouldn't take this video that's a YouTube and break it up with something like an Opus Clips and make a bunch of shorts and just throw it on every platform. I've got to be very strategic about it. But instead of just breaking it up, if I was doing shorts, for example, I might shoot verticals on my phone. Or a different way, I may shoot dedicated videos just for that because the text may show up different. For example, when you break some of these clips up with artificial intelligence, you may not be able to see the words at the bottom. I learned. I've made these mistakes the last 6 years. So you want to make sure that you're thinking about that when you're building these target audiences, that you understand the platforms. Look, don't pick 6 platforms. Really just pick 1, 2 at the most, and really get to know these platforms and understand them. Understand how they work. Understand how people are consuming the content on there so that you can create the right content strategy. So whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, for example, for us, our biggest one is YouTube. Our YouTube audience for our other companies is completely different than, say, Instagram. In fact, we've pulled back from Instagram until we do a little more learning of the Instagram platform and how people consume content and what makes a good reel. Do we need a good reel here? Threads, all these different things. And so you really want to make sure you're focusing on here. Now, why YouTube? And one of the reasons why we prefer YouTube is someone's going there to get the answer to a question. So we're not dealing with what we call distractive marketing, which may be something like a Facebook where people are scrolling and you're having to convince them to engage with you. Maybe you're having to do a giveaway just to get them to engage with you. While something with a YouTube is they're engaging with you because you're solving their problem. So it depends what platform you're going on. But when you're building these target audiences and your buyer personas and understanding this, then these are things you want to think about. What platform are you doing it on? Each platform really should have their own target audience built. And look, if you need help building and figuring out your target audiences, in the description of this video, I've got our email address that you can shoot us an email, and we'd be happy to connect with you to provide some assistance. Because look, nobody understands your audience really more than you. So this may not be something you want to completely outsource. Instead, maybe working with someone to help you understand it and guide you. Because at the end of the day, no one understands your customers like you do, or at least someone who's been in that industry before. But that's what we wanted to talk about in this video. Before we jump off this video though, and I'm sorry it's been a while since we put a video out, look, make sure to share, subscribe, and like the channel so you can constantly get the notifications and the updates on these different videos that we put out. I'm Chris, the owner of Niche Your Business, and I look forward to speaking to you in our next video. Maybe it's about target audience, maybe it's not. But before you go, make sure to click on the corner of this video to watch some of our other videos here on the channel. Thank you.